Welcome back to Block TV. This is Trader's Take on a crazy day where the markets have rocketed up to the sky. And to help us figure it all out, we are joined by our own technical analyst, the fortune teller, the fortune maker, the man, Joe Saz. Joe, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's actually been quite a beautiful time to be a Bitcoiner, BTC that is. Now we've been moving up nice and easy. We've found our bottom at 64. We kind of confirmed that with a very, very decisive bounce out of the 68.50 territory. We've continued grinding up, consolidating in these areas that were kind of scary for some time, the low 7Ks. And now here we are looking at these beautiful runs. It's just been some nice consolidations, some nice legs up, and obviously it's still been chop time. I still think that there's going to be liquidation and stop hunts up and down this road. So I'm encouraging the traders that I trade with to make sure that we don't go over leverage. But yeah, we got some good activity going on around here. And it's, like I said, mostly been legs up. I think we did have a pretty crazy wick here just a second, like an hour ago. This is pretty wild. We peaked out at just past 86. So that wall's broken. I mean, we're knocking down the walls here, the sell walls. And I think this looks very different to me than, a single candle pump. This looks a lot more organic to me, a lot more interest to me. And I think this is the kind of activity that is going to be putting bears on their heels, and that's exactly what I want to see at the end of the transition phase going into the bull market. I want sellers to really question, is now a good time to sell? And bulls have done a great job of putting bears on their heels and forcing them into that position.
Well, we see the price is definitely looking good. How's the volume looking?
Yeah, so let's take a look at the daily. I mean, volume is okay. I can't say that volume is, doing anything special. Down here we have a RSI contango combination, so I'm paying attention to that. The RSI is nearing overbought conditions, not a huge concern. But we do also have probably about 2 weeks away from a bullish crossover of the 50 moving average and the 128 moving average. And that's going to converge depending on what happens now, because, I mean, we've taken some serious moves up. And by serious, I mean serious for now. 5% moves, 5% moves. I'll take a 5% move. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we haven't had anything like this in a minute, 16% move or anything like that. So anyways, we're taking some steep moves up. It's funny, this accelerated trend line, usually on the daily, you don't really get such a steep trend line upheld. And so the accelerated trend has been upheld. We broke down through it a little bit, but we revalidated it. If we close again today, I mean, this thing's really steep. I'm expecting this to break at some point, but we are above the long. This is one of the most important things to me. We're getting a close, hopefully, above the long-standing descending line here, and this is basically the same thing to me as the breakthrough of this long-standing resistance, which was the part of the descending triangle all the way through 2018. And I don't want to go all the way back. Obviously, we all remember what that market was like. But here's the most recent one, breakdown, accelerated trend line. This wasn't even that steep of an accelerated trend line. Now, this, on the other hand, is much more accelerated, and we've already punctured the descending trend line October 25th or October 26th. So now let's get a body close above it. Let's try to consolidate above it. I think this thing's ready to party. I think the elbow dolls are ready to come out. I think the moon boys are ready to come out. I think it's time to validate some of their moon boy theories. And we just broke 8,600 again. Wow, what's going on? I'm just going to run quickly back to the smaller time frames, and we've broken the lucid star here on the small time frame. Now we're just competing for this higher wick space. It seems like we might get it. This is where I would turn to the order book. I mean, trader mentality. Oh, of course, come on. Well, never mind. Point is, this is looking quite fantastic, and even with if this thing pulls back a little bit, that's going to be okay. We're consolidating in the mid 8,000s. That's beautiful. Let's get to the high 8,000s and let's hit that $9,400 target.
Is that 94 is your next target after breaking 8,200?
Yeah. It was basically 82, and then the climb to 94 was going to involve a couple stops along the way. My stops were 84, 80. I'm going to average at 87. It was going to be 88, 87 range. And then and then I think we have a pretty clear ride to 9,400 from there. There might be one more stop at like 90, like 9,000, 9,100. But right now, I think that we're really building some velocity. So I think that's a couple stops along the way. I think we're going to need less stops along the way as we go up. You know, the flight to 10K from 9.4 obviously is going to be a much smaller gap and a much more psychological victory. And from there, I think we're going to be able to get to that 14.5 target a little more easily. But you know, let's take this a step at a time. I think we are in a roaring bull market. And we're throwing. Wow, look at that. We're pumping hard. 86.40 right now. We beat the wick space, and this thing seems to have seems like there's low liquidity. So what I'd be looking at right here is how many sellers are pulling their orders, because if this is a liquidity sweep, and again sellers are on their heels, they'll be pulling orders from the order book, making
you can't get the order books open right now.
It was oh well.
Listen, trading happens with or without you, baby. You got to be on this. You know, if you want to be at the forefront, it's pumping right now. We're getting up to 86 above, 86.15. What are we at right now?
So the buy side liquidity is very thin, and this is usually a FOMO breakout sign. We just had a big pack of Bitcoin get bought right there, 12 pack plus some. Looks like buyers are taking chunks out of. Oh, look at that, another 16 pack. This is FOMO, man. This is like so sell side liquidity is stacked pretty heavily, but I mean these guys should be getting scared right now. They're throwing down some dust, 1 to 2 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin sell. You know, we got a lot of we got small low liquidity chasing the book, yet they're taking such powerful chunks out of the sellers. The depth chart posture, I'm assuming, is this is definitely a bullish posture. Very dynamic activity over here. I don't think what I want to see is bulls start stacking like this with these 20 packs right here. Now we're going to instigate more bulls to buy. The more bulls we have chasing the book, which is happening, and I'm flipping back and forth, as you can see, between the trade history and the order book. The more bulls we have chasing the book, the more likely we are to have more buyers jump on top of that action. This is a competition to buy. That's what FOMO is, or part of what FOMO is. So I want to see buyers keep chasing the book. Right now it's a little thin, but sometimes this condition is actually a condition that could set us up for about 3 days of upside activity. That's not something that happens very often, and that's not something I say very often. But right now, things are looking good to me. I'm pretty happy with what I see. This is great. I'm seeing bulls bulls gain confidence and bears get scared, and you can see liquidity is now dropping. We have the highest $10 aggregation fill is a 90 pack at 8,800. So I'm going to assume there's stops there because there were a lot of stop loss positions set up at around 8,300 and 84 and I think 8,500. It was 83 and 8,500 where we hit those areas and we just launched through them quickly, straight from 8.8. Wow, this is nice inverted. Man, there's some information I want to pull up, but it's still some data that I'm working on, so I don't want to do it too soon. But I don't want this candle to go inverted hammer. I want bulls to chase this book right now, and it seems like they want to. 30 pack, 12 pack, 4 pack lead in the book consumed, or not consumed, but pulled. So you can see that there wasn't a 4 pack sold here. So that's what I'm paying attention to. Very dynamic activity. This is a tight market space, and I think sellers are on their heels. Sellers are probably looking for the next short, and I think they're going to be disappointed if that's the bag of gold they're looking for.
Wow, Bitcoin doing a really good, up 5 or 6% right now on the day, but BSV up 45% on the day. Joe, what is going on there?
Yeah, man. Oh, the first thing that comes to mind, and this is something I don't want to conclusively say, but I'm thinking it might be alt season. I'm not certain yet, but this is definitely much more of what I would expect out of an alt season. Serious FOMO, and by serious FOMO, we got 46% daily move. We got 9%, 5%, 38% daily move. I mean, you're up big if you're trading this. I don't personally trade this. I don't know what exchange to trade this on. But I also think that when you have coins like this, I mean, that go up this quickly, get ready for the retrace. So I don't want to say it's alt season just yet. We have great volume here, and let's compare this volume of that last run to this one. I mean, we have far less volume in this run. This could easily be wash trading. I'm not going to make assumptions that this is alt season just yet. It's starting to feel like if Bitcoin's in a bull market, then I'm more inclined to feel like alt season's around the corner. But we have significant volume on this run, and we have the same volume, in fact, on this run, uh, in a couple candles that took us up 21% and such. A 21% body, not even so this one was a 21% body, and it has no volume, absolutely no volume. That's the very low liquidity on the sell side, and that could easily be wash trading. So I'm going to rescind my alt season comment for now, and I'll save that for a month from now, if this kind of stuff continues to happen. But this actually looks a lot more like manipulation to me and wash trading. This is I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt of all the coins in the crypto ecosystem. The last person I'm going to give benefit of the doubt to is Calvin Ayer and Craig Wright in the midst of his fake Satoshi hearings.
But even let's say a whale like Craig Wright is actually pumping that price. If you are a BSV holder, would this not possibly push that market into actual, real, organic bull trading right now?
Well, if you're a holder, nothing's happening except your net worth is increasing.
Not a holder, just a holder. If you actually own BSV coin, will this might this spur the actual organic BSV owners into action, potentially get some bull trading?
I think this is a very isolated community. I would want to see a bit more information, and I could dig around for that. But I don't have an exact number of like how much BSV has been bought. I'd want to, actually what I want to do is take a quick look at BSV relative to BTC, and let's see if we can get any numbers here. So it looks like it's trading on Bitfinex and a few others. Definitely taking a pump, a nice big one here, and let's see what it is relative to Bitcoin. 28%, and this is around about the same. Now we're competing with another pump and dump high. This really doesn't mean much to me right now, and I don't think hodlers that this might convince them, like kind of similar to XRP hodlers, where they don't have all the money in the world, but they have a diehard cult following. This could pull money out of their pockets. This could instigate some sort of FOMO buying from them, but I'm not going to expect them to really push the price up. I'd more expect to push the price of BSV up. I would expect the court to say that Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto. And obviously, I don't think that's true no matter what court says it. But that would probably be enough to get anyone on the fence, because I do know people that are on the fence about that. And that would be enough to probably get them to switch all their other shit coins into this shit coin. So BSV. So I mean, there might be some sort of traffic movement from altcoin X to BSV. But that would be the majority of what I would expect out of a move like this. Less money from outsiders, or even money from the pockets of the people trading this, to the more likely to selling other positions to get in on this. I think it's going to take a bomb, like an external narrative, to really drive this forward.
Well, shifting gears from a more isolated, smaller community like BSV, let's take a look at Ethereum. With that well-respected community, how's their price doing on this amazing day for crypto?
Yeah, I think I'm expecting to see some green here. Now, I want to look at this bottom. And this bottom does look like we did spend some time there, because basically what we're setting up for right now is the ultimate $1 million question: is the bottom in? And it's starting to look like it right now. We beat the 50. We struggled, wrestled with it, beat it. We got a 7% move on the day. I'm not comfortable enough to say the bottom is in. I am comfortable enough to say this is looking good for a continuation of this trend into hopefully into the intermediate term moving average, and possibly a bit further. We are starting to round off on this 50, the short term moving average. So let's get up here. I think Bitcoin will take the market with it. I think one of the ones that everyone's been talking about, and this is something that I had on the dominance chart here, and I guess I'll pull the price up. Oh, a quick stop at XRP. Same thing, wrestling with the 50. It seems like we've gained some strength. So this is looking very similar to Ethereum. I wanted to take a look at Litecoin US dollar because that's the one that people are saying is leading the rally, and it seems to have much more of a distance away from its low than Ethereum does. And we've broken this descending channel hard. This thing's done, and this thing's trash. Now we're even fighting with the intermediate term moving average. If Litecoin is any indicator of what's going to happen, then we have some good days ahead of us. And this is what I wanted to point out to us. Litecoin is indicated here by the yellow line, and Litecoin's gone from about 1.4% dominance to 1.58% dominance. Pretty much one of the only cryptocurrencies, and this is only we're only looking at 4 cryptocurrencies relative to Bitcoin. I'm giving them respect by calling them cryptocurrencies. Now they're the only ones that I've really been paying attention to, and Litecoin has, as you can see, really taken a dramatic move to the upside. Bitcoin dominance decreasing into the 69th percentile area. So this is a wild area, but I think volatility might be back. This is something we might need to readdress later this week. Is volatility back? But I think it's very possible that the market swings that Bitcoin and the crypto space are so used to could be here for a couple weeks, and I think that halvening current is really going to do a lot for the space. I'm expecting some good stuff.
Well, I mean, you heard it here first. Volatility's back, baby. Well, okay, let's take a look. Kind of BSV-esque. Bitcoin Cash, BCH, is up about 15% on the day. Is that more? Is that closer to your thoughts on Ethereum and Bitcoin, where it's a more organic push, or is that closer to your thoughts on BSV, which you said is a more of a manipulation?
Actually, this looks a lot more like organic activity. I did not expect to say that, by the way. I was really expecting this to look a lot more pump and dumpy. This looks like Litecoin, only 3 steps ahead. Litecoin is in this candle phase right here, having broken the intermediate term moving average. Bitcoin Cash at up 16%, having violently broken through the 200-day moving average, with a curling 50 moving average up, a neutralizing intermediate term, and hopefully not too long from now, a long-term moving average. This thing looks like it's pumping pretty hard. This is I give this the look of respect. I'm not going to immediately assume manipulation when I look at this. It might be riddled with some, but this is not the same thing as BSV at all. And I do like to pile shit coins together. Unfortunately, I can't pile this one in with a BSV scam, that particular scam. I can't combine this with that. But I can say that Ethereum is right around here, or just past the 50. Litecoin is right around here, and Bitcoin Cash being up here, it really makes me wonder what's going to happen. This, as far as the altcoin season statement, this is stuff that's making me feel like altcoin season is around the corner. So, like I said, let's give that a couple weeks before we, convincingly have an argument that the bottom is in. Alt season has begun, and silent money is done, doing its major purchasing, and the big stuff is to come. This thing is pumping quite nicely though, up 23%.
Joe, talking about BCH right now, we actually had a chance to speak earlier today with BCH head Roger Ver, who you actually got to throw a question to, and he responded. So let's take a look at that a quick second.
Here's a great way to spread Bitcoin Cash. Make a Twitter account. Okay, follow this account and we'll give you 5 cents, 10 cents in Bitcoin Cash. It'll just direct message a QR code of a private key with the 5 or 10 cents on it directly via Twitter to that person.
Roger, do you think this short clip confirms Bcash is centralized through the use of paid shills promoting your altcoin? And what would you say to someone who sees a selfish economic motive in this, considering your massive stake in Bcash?
Yeah, I think that person doesn't know the history of Bitcoin at all. The way almost everybody got their first Bitcoins were either from mining, and then everybody else got it from a faucet. I was a retired multimillionaire before Bitcoin had ever even been invented. I'm not in this for the money one bit. I'm in this to promote more economic freedom around the world. And that's why I've been doing this every day, all day, for almost 10 years full time now. If that person was reasonable, would actually look at evidence in front of his face, you would see that Bitcoin Cash has a better chance of bringing more economic freedom to more people around the world. And Bitcoin Core at this point has just become almost like a religious cult of people that are mad at any other person that's not part of their religion, because they won't earn as much money as Bitcoin Core holders if people start using Bitcoin Cash. So if anybody's worried about their pocketbook, it's that guy, not me.
Joe, what is your response? You asked the question, he responded to it. What is your take on Roger Ver's take on your question?
Yeah, I'm actually upset he didn't address the centralized element, and I think he did that by design. You even said before we went into that clip, Roger's coin, and that's pretty much how this coin is known. So it's definite. The fact that he avoided the centralized element of this question confirms to me that this is something, a skeleton in the closet to him. Yeah, he's been around for quite some time, and yeah, he used to be a Bitcoin maximalist. But from things like adding checkpoints to BSV, from stealing hash from Bitcoin.com, people trying to farm mine other coins and compete in the hash wars of November 2018. There's a number of things that Roger's done that have been very insidious and very selfish. And to me, he is nothing more than a self-driven and self-motivated individual. I do not see his push for any sort of economic freedom other than a grip of words that are him trying to shill his garbage altcoin. So I'm really unimpressed with Roger's response. I think that the most important thing he needs to address, first and foremost, is centralization, because in order for a world of economic freedom, we need to be able to have that ability to transact peer-to-peer anonymously. And when we have people like Roger Ver spearheading an entire cryptocurrency, bearing massive bags, doing everything they can to shill it, and I mean, man, this rabbit hole goes deep. Industrialized nodes, people being that's one of Roger's plans, is to make it so that it's much harder for people, the average everyday person, to operate a node. And if you don't have the same node participation, then you don't have the same decentralization. So Roger, I think, is a fan of centralization, as long as he's the one driving the car. And I'd be really curious to see what his response is to the actual most important component of a blockchain like Bitcoin, which is the decentralized element, which cannot be replicated. Everything else, scaling, transaction cost, transaction speed, all that stuff is secondary and functioning fine in Bitcoin. Now that stuff, all that that I just said, is all secondary to decentralization, and you cannot replicate that the way Satoshi has done so. So I think that Roger is completely delusional if he thinks for 1 second that Roger coin, aka Bitcoin trash, is going to make its way into a global currency and make the world a better place for anyone other than him.
Well, Joe, feisty words in response to Roger Ver and his comments, but I'm sure that you guys can continue this beef on Twitter. Check that out, BLOCKTV's Twitter. We will be posting this as always. Just make sure you don't call it Bcash, because you might choke you out. Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining us on this awesome day here at Trader Stake. The market is green across the board. BSV is up almost 45%, Bitcoin up 6%. Thank you so much, Joe, for checking us out, and we look forward to taking further the Twitter beef. I'm sure that'll be interesting. If you want more on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, check us out, blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.